Alright, so I've been thinking how I wanted to do this Max Holloway video, but I had a completely different thought yesterday. And I want to break down how Max Holloway became one of the biggest stars heading into one of the biggest pay-per-views next year in the White House card. Now, I just want to say this right now, regardless of your political opinions, the UFC going to the White House, it will be a major pay per view. But we will get to that. Really quickly though, um, shoot, I'm gonna make that smaller. I made this 30-minute video about the full fight. Not a lot of you watched it, but I really put a lot of effort into it. I broke down basically how they both progressed in those big fights, and specifically the backstage stuff. Did I pull it up here? I think I pulled up this video over here. Whatever. I watched it, but specifically the video of them in the back talking about not getting the bonus. That right there, the respect. I talked all about that, how it was one of my favorite moments in MMA history. But this is Max Holloway's video. That was more Dustin Poirier's video. And Max Holloway made himself probably the fifth biggest star in the UFC right now off of this performance. Now, what happened before this? He got knocked out by Holloway at featherweight after cutting that weight that he put on for the Gaethje fight. He won the first round, at least. Second round was close, but obviously he got chinned for the first time. And then he comes into this fight against Dustin Poirier, who, yes, he's older, but still one of the best boxers. And we've been talking about how prime Dustin Poirier would be a nightmare matchup for Ilya Poirier. Well, maybe not a nightmare, but a tough match. But basically, what this fight was Max Holloway showing that he has hit his peak. And we are talking about a guy who won the featherweight championship off of knocking out Jose Aldo twice and defended it against everybody and only lost three insanely close fights to Volkanovski. And then he goes in up to 155 at UFC 300, knockout of the century against Justin Gaethje last second, and exactly like this, it was a dominant performance. First down, he was outlanding Dustin, looked much quicker. Again, the size of Max Holloway. Max Holloway building in to 155, not just moving up on a whim like he did in the second fight. And he just, dude, the output, the precision. Max Holloway is a different fighter. And round by round, he basically outstruck um Dustin Poirier. Then you did have the round where is the one uh yeah, where's the I know Dustin knocked him down the second. Which was the which was the round when they both knocked each other down? Was that the second? Again, I have a very short term memory. But basically, the story of that night was Dustin Poirier retiring, trying to go out on a win. But the guy that he brought into the UFC, who he fought again, they fought at their absolute peak in that second fight, right? The fight in. Excuse me. I have a wicked cough today. I've been trying to handle it. But yeah. When was it? Their second fight, yeah, in 2019, Khabib got injured. Max Holloway moved up, trying to get the second title again after going on what was it, a 13-fight win streak, right after losing to Conor McGregor. Right? He, you have Max Holloway, who is a fan favorite, who has connections to the biggest star the sport has ever seen, the biggest star that Connor has made in Poirier, because again, those second and third Connor fights, one, I know I hit my mic earlier, so sorry, made him a lot of money to the point he didn't need to come back for the fights after Connor, but he did. He wanted to go for the belt, right? But again, the first fight, where was it? Right here, 2012, February 4th, first fight, right? Very first fight in the UFC, 18 years old, and he gets submitted in the first round. That's very humbling, man. And sure enough, Dustin Poirier went on to do what he did in featherweight, but when he got to lightweight, completely different Dustin Poirier, the Dustin Poirier we know and love. But basically, he has just outclassed Gaethje and starched him at the last second, and then outclassed Dustin Poirier. Again, people say Dustin Poirier has some, if not the best boxing in the UFC. So moving on from this fight, you have two things. The BMF belt, which I know a lot of people don't like the BMF belt, but Jesse said it perfectly in his video. It is the stand and bang title. The champion can never have it. I know that Ilya Taporia got one, and absolutely he deserves it. He starts to Max Holloway, first and only person ever to do it, right? But again, this title is mainly for your stars who aren't at the title level, lost their title shot, and draw massive amounts of money. So that's what you have with Max Holloway. So it gets tricky here, right? Because we have the rankings here. And let's face it, these rankings ultimately don't matter. But they do, right? It's the weird thing where there's two ways you get a title shot. You're either a big star, you go on a hot streak, or you go on a big enough win streak to the point where you're undeniable, which is what Armand Sarukian did. Got his shot in January, didn't get it, but now Dana White is open to it because Ilya Taporia probably knocks him out, and that builds his new star, right? This is a to look at things. Now, yeah. Now, okay. So having that in mind, Ilya should fight Armand. It's the best thing for Ilya, and it helps his case in getting the major fight with Israel Makachev. There we go. So you got Charles, who just got knocked out, probably will be out at least 6 months. I kind of think in a year. And again, I want to stress, a lot of people have knocked out Charles Oliveira. Nobody has flatlined, or at least in a long time, flatlined Oliveira the way Poirier did. You got Gamrot. I don't know why Tapology has Gamrot number 4. Like, he does have, ow. Oh, just blame it. That was, I don't know. I'll have to watch it back. But yeah, Gamrot here, not near the title, would just be with Dovic Klein. Got lost to Dan Archer. You got Justin Gaethje, who is calling for a title shot. Got knocked out by Holloway. Holloway just knocked out beat Poirier. So, I guess you can argue that Gaethje has a better win over Dustin Poirier. But again, he just got knocked out by Holloway. So, Max winning last weekend completely throws Gaethje out the title. So I don't know if he'll retire or not. Um, I'm hearing that he will fight Patty, which I think that is the move to build Patty into the fight with Ilya Taporia. And then you have Max Holloway and Dan Harker, which, if you ask me, ideally, the fight to make would be Max versus Charles. But Charles just got flatlined. So, if Max Holloway is going to fight at the end of this year, maybe Madison Square Garden or the December card, maybe he goes out to Abu Dhabi, I would do the Dan Harker fight. Because you're going to have Ilya and Armand busy. Gamrot again. I have no idea who Gamrot would need to beat. Maybe Gamrot Physio. I don't know. But for Max Holloway, I think these are the two options, right? Because Oliveira, what does that do for Holloway's legacy? Champion. He already has a win early on in their career by a doctor's stoppage. But getting a win now, especially, well, even when Oliveira is declining, that is still a legacy win, right? Dan Archer will be a good legacy win because he's been around. He's faced the top of lightweight for the last few years. And then the only logical fight for Max Holloway would be a fight with Patty, giving Patty beats Gaethje, and then you got the weird Warrior fight, right? Now, you have the White House card, which is going to be the biggest pay-per-view in next year. It is going to be the biggest pay-per-view of all time, regardless of your opinion on the big guy, on his administration, on the other side, whatever it may be. This is going to be a massive event that everybody is going to watch. People who have never watched fights before. And Max Holloway absolutely has a spot on that card after what he's done to Gaethje, after what he's done to Dustin Poirier. And again, he has the BMF belt. I know a lot of people don't like the gimmick, but Jesse said it perfectly, and I cannot think of a better way Think of it as the stand and bang belt. Who could fight for that? Dan Hooker? Absolutely. Oliveira? Even though Oliveira has the more submissions, Oliveira can stand and bang. Um, Maybe not anymore though. Maybe not anymore. But it's still a legacy when I would want to see Max get. But again, with him fighting, say, Dan Harker, and then moving into the Oliveira fight, you are building a legacy at lightweight, which he's trying to chase Volkanovski again because he has 3 losses. He talked about being 0-3 in 2 trilogies. Luckily, he's not, or sadly, he's not. It's bittersweet, man. I hate it. But again, he lost to Volkanovski in 3 insanely close fights. Where is Volkanovski now? Come on. If you go, okay, Volkanovski now, right? Holloway beat him to let's just go back to the Holloway fight. Again, really close fight, unanimous decision. Really close fight, split decision. A lot of people thought Max won that second fight, including me. Brian Ortega, he beat. Korean Zombie, he retires by knocking him out. Or no, we're looking at Volkanovski. Max Holloway retired him. And then they fight the second time. Again, I don't know, that was right. No, it's man, I'm struggling. That's right, the third time. And again, really close fight. And when you went on Twitter at the time, a lot of people thought Max won. I thought Volk won the third fight definitively. I thought that Max won the second fight. And again, it's been a while since I watched the first fight. I remember because I watched uh, these 3 fights with my dad. And we disagreed on the first fight. We agreed on the second fight. And then Volk definitively won the third, I kind of think. Um, but yeah, you have these 3 losses to Volk, right? So the best way he can get back at Volkanovski and surpass Volkanovski would be winning the title. And if he beats Ilya Taporia, who at that time will be what, um, 18-0, 19-0, somewhere around there, depending on how much he fights, this is going to be a different fight, right? Lightweight, Big Max Holloway. Ilya Taporia showed that he belongs in 155 when he puts his mind to it. And he's walking around at 170 as well. Both of these guys are probably walking around the same way. Wait, which is insane to think about. And what bigger fight can you have in the UFC right now than Max Holloway Elite Taporia 2 at the White House? You are building your new Connor, your new big star, with your, which is insane to say, veteran. Your veteran trying to reach the pinnacle he was at. Again, Max Holloway before Volkanovski was the greatest featherweight of all time. Like, It's the way I view this sport, right? It's the best way I can say it is the most basic and brutal display of business you are ever gonna see. These two guys will spend months in a gym specifically watching tape on their opponent and learning combat moves to beat the shit out of them or to strangle them or to break a limb off. And then again, go watch my video, my original video on the Poirier fight. That showcase that he had at UFC 318 was every part of the sport that MMA is about, right? Respect, brutality, giving it your fucking all, man. So logically, you are going to give him either hooker or you're gonna wait until Oliveira wants to come back. And then you're gonna have Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway be running your fights on the July 4th card. Because I feel if you cannot get the Islam fight done, this is the next best thing, right? This is the position that Max Holloway has put himself in, and that's why I want to stress this. This was a major event. It did everything that it was supposed to do. And now you're going to have Max Holloway, who is built into 155, chasing down the guy that took away the one thing he's been chasing for the last however many years. This time, if he gets it done, he becomes a double champ, which the guy he just outclassed took away from him. I know it's an interim title, but you still get pay per view. You get the exact same thing. But that's their God. Let me know, what do you think about this video? Do you like this kind of video of me breaking down kind of the business side? Again, that's how I view this sport, and one of the reasons I love it is the combination of the business, the violence, and like the technical martial arts. But yeah, that's what I got. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below, what would you do with Max Holloway to build his legacy, and would you make other fights at 155 with Max Holloway? Let me know.